Welcome back. This is our 9th video for chapter 3 chemical reactions and equations, and today we are studying redox reaction. In the last video we studied reduction and oxidation separately, but I had also mentioned that in many chemical reactions reduction and oxidation is taking place simultaneously. Such reactions or such equations are called as redox reactions. Okay, now let's take some examples here. NiO plus H2, nickel oxide reacting with hydrogen. Now nickel, oxygen has been removed, so nickel has been reduced and oxygen has been added to water, that is to hydrogen to give us water. So hydrogen has been oxidized, but hydrogen has been added to oxygen, so oxygen has been reduced. So in this reaction there are two reductions that are happening and one oxidation. Hydrogen is being oxidized, oxygen and nickel are being reduced. Second example, we see hydrogen sulfide reacting with sulfur dioxide gas. So in H2S hydrogen is removed, so sulfur has been reduced. Sulfur has been oxidized. Removal of hydrogen is also oxidation. So sulfur has been oxidized and H2O the same like the previous one. Okay, redox reaction is happening simultaneously. Last equation, magnesium oxide reacting with hydrochloric acid. Here you have MnCl2. Now magnesium has donated 2 electrons to chlorine, so magnesium is reduced, chlorine is oxidized. Okay, then H2O is the same as I spoke earlier, reduction oxidation taking place simultaneously, and chlorine here is reduced because chlorine is accepting electrons. It's a non-metal accepting electrons. A redox reaction also takes place during our cellular respiration in our cells. During this reaction here, an enzyme called cytochrome C oxidase. Okay, this can be for fill in the blanks or choose the right option. This helps to transport the electrons in order to bring about this respiration. Now we know during cellular respiration food gets oxidized. Okay, and that's how digestion takes place, or food gets completely oxidized during cellular respiration. Now this part, do you know, is again important because there are many simple questions that are asked based on this. Okay, so I think this you can read on your own. It's in your textbook as well. Okay, this is also talking about oxidation, reduction and redox reaction. Then we talk about exothermic and endothermic reaction. Exo means outwards, thermic means heat. So when heat is given out during a reaction, it's exothermic, and endo means inwards. Heat, when it is absorbed, we call it as endothermic reaction. Normally in the equation itself, on the arrow, when heat is supplied, we normally write a triangle. Okay, so you understand that heat is being taken in, absorbed, so endothermic. And in the reaction, if you get heat has been evolved as a byproduct, then it is called as exothermic reaction. Now in the first case, hydrogen chloride reacts with sodium hydroxide, acid and a base reaction. Okay, giving us a salt, sodium chloride, water, and during the chemical reaction, heat is given out. So this is an exothermic reaction. In the second case, you find a triangle on the arrow. That means heat is taken in. Okay, so here you have KCl, potassium chloride and oxygen, and in this case heat is taken in. So this is an endothermic reaction. When we supply heat, when something is heated, that means they are absorbing heat to bring about the reaction. Okay, then we have calcium oxide with water. Here again heat is given out. Tuna. Okay, the white tuna that normally some people use for painting their homes, poor people normally. Okay, so when you put this calcium oxide in water, literally the water bubbles. It gives out large amount of heat. So exothermic reaction. And calcium carbonate heated strongly to give us calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Now this is again, here heat is supplied, so this is an endothermic reaction. The last part of the chapter is corrosion. Have you ever noticed such things in your homes, in your surroundings? Okay, the iron rusting, the nice silvery iron has turned into reddish color. Okay, here you find spoons, goldenish spoons, okay, which have turned greenish. Here you can see copper turned green, silver articles turned blackish. Okay, now these are all corrosion. where or rather corrosion is also a type of oxidation where oxygen is reacting with metals to oxidize them. So when also we can say when a positive charge on an atom or an ion increases or negative charge decreases. So when a positive charge increases. Now when will positive charge increase? When we donate electrons. So when metals donate electrons, okay, then positive charge will increase. Okay, in such cases, or negative charge decreases. Negative charge becomes lesser than the positive charge. For example, iron, Fe, donates 2 electrons to become Fe positive. And then it can react with oxygen, can donate those electrons to oxygen to get oxidized to iron oxide. Okay, so when the positive charge of an atom or an ion increases or negative charge decreases, we say it is oxidation. Now we know positive charge will increase when electrons are donated, and when electrons are donated, it is an oxidation reaction. Okay, and when the positive charge decreases, okay, or negative charge increases. So when we form a negative ion by accepting electrons like non-metals, then we call it as reduction reaction, which we have done when we studied oxidation reduction reaction also. Okay, now iron, for example, oxidation to FeO, reduced back to Fe by accepting electrons again. So when metals when metals are exposed to air and moisture, oxidation of metals takes place. This damage of the metals is called corrosion. Okay, is corrosion good? Not really. It damages the metals. Okay, rusting of iron, silver, blackening of silver articles, copper becomes greenish in color, which is poisonous as well. Then aluminium loses its luster and becomes more dull. Okay, so oxidation, actually corrosion is nothing but addition of oxygen onto metals. Okay, thus bringing about its oxidation. So here Fe donating 2 electrons become Fe plus 2. Fe donating the electrons to oxygen. So Fe plus 2 donating the electrons to oxygen. Oxygen is accepting, becoming FeO, iron oxide. And again iron can donate more electrons to oxygen to become Fe2O3. Okay, so corrosion is a type of oxidation reaction. Now here you have to study rusting. There are certain conditions that are needed. Now there are 4 test tubes here. Oil layer on the boiled water. The water is boiled and there is an oil layer. You put a nail inside. In the second case, you put the nail in a salt solution. Third case, there is no water, only air. And in the last case, air and anhydrous calcium chloride is added. Now anhydrous calcium chloride will absorb any type of moisture that is present there. Okay, so air and anhydrous calcium chloride so is present in the last test tube, and the nails are added in each one. Which one do you think will rust first? Test tube 1, 2, 3 or 4? Any guesses? Yes, salt solution, second one. Okay, because salt increases the speed of oxidation, and plus there is air, there is moisture, and there is salt to increase the oxidation reaction. So first of all, the salt solution nail will get rusted the most. Okay, the second one next could be number 3 if there is moisture in the air. Then the fourth one will be a little late. Okay, because there is no much of moisture in it, and the last one will hardly get oxidized because there is an oil layer, so no air contact. Okay, and the water is also boiled. Okay, so now there are some of the how to prevent the corrosion of metals. To prevent rusting of iron, what is done? We normally give it a coating of paint. Okay, or iron oxide is added so that the original iron will not undergo oxidation reaction. So coat it. Another way is galvanizing. What is galvanizing? Giving a coating of zinc to iron. Then giving a coating of red oxide, okay, which is normally called as a metal primer, to the iron articles like our iron gates, iron articles. We give it a primer of red oxide. Painting could be another option. Okay, then to prevent corrosion of aluminium, it's called galvanizing. Okay, here it is given coating of aluminium oxide. Is it galvanizing or anodizing? I think galvanizing is coating with zinc. Okay, so there is a mistake here. It has to be anodizing. Okay, so that you'll find the anodized, and you get many of these anodized metals, aluminium vessels today in the market. They are the best actually for any type of cooking. Okay, because metal salts are normally formed during these reactions, especially when we use aluminium, iron. So therefore the best coating is of aluminium oxide. So instead of allowing it to get oxidized, we give it a coating of oxygen, of aluminium oxide, so that it further prevents the oxidation or corrosion of aluminium. Silver articles are normally given gold plating. You all are familiar with gold plated articles. The last part is about rancidity, and then we will stop. When cooking oil, butter, many times when we leave cooking oil, butter, fat, or even when we buy some oil products and leave it out for a long time unattended, not in an airtight container, the oil smells bad. Okay, you get a different type of a smell and a taste. Okay, or oil gets that smell or taste, the butter gets that smell or taste, fats that are kept out will get that dirty smell or that different type of a taste. That's called rancidity. Okay, they react with air and get oxidized. Their taste changes and give out a very, very foul smell. This process we call as rancidity. What can be done to prevent it? Store them in airtight containers. Food has to be stored, oil, butter has to be stored in airtight containers. Do not reuse open or heated oil. So we should never reuse heated oil. Okay, once you have heated oil and used it, we should never reuse that oil. Do not reuse open or heated oil, because it's already oxidized. It's bad for health, can cause cancer. Do not overheat oil or butter or ghee. So always heat oil as much as needed on slow flame, never on a high flame. And if it has already got oxidized, might as well throw it out. It's better to throw it out rather than to consume oil which has been overheated. And use antioxidants. There are a variety of antioxidants that are available. Many food also have antioxidant properties, and they will not allow excess of oxidation to happen inside our bodies. So prevention of rancidity, okay, there are certain ways in which it can be done using antioxidants by refrigerating articles, food articles, storing certain articles in a dark place, like medicines have to be stored in dark bottles. Vacuum packaging. Many of the food items are vacuum packed. Okay, so no oxygen is there to react. And using inert gases in packaging as well. Many times inert gases can also be added in packaging. Okay, so what are these antioxidants? The substances which can prevent the occurrence of oxidative rancidity are called as antioxidants. Trace amounts of antioxidants such as tocopherols or vitamin E, garlic acid and alpha-nephthol are added to the commercial preparations in order to prevent rancidity. And propyl gallate, these could be as fill in the blanks, etc. or pick up the odd one. Then butylated hydroxynizole and butylated hydroxytoluene are other antioxidants which are used for food preservation. Okay, so you can look at these certain other antioxidant foods that can be consumed. Prunes, blackberries, walnuts, strawberries, blueberries, green tea. Okay, then artichokes, peaches are very good source of antioxidants. Broccoli are a good source of antioxidants. So we stop here. God bless. Keep studying. Thank you.